Okay, we are live.
Cool.
We are live. Let's see.
Both of our hairs look like they've lived approximately as long as we have. That's an interpretive observation.
I think both of our hairs have a life of their own at this point.
Yeah. Our
Let's
hairs
see.
look like they've been here and there.
Okay, let's see if we have anyone watching even.
Oh, is it
Oh, we
possible?
have 3 people watching. Hey, 3 people watching. Hello, hello. I hope we will have 3 people.
Oh, 3
So
people.
the 3 people that are watching, let us know who you are and where you're from in the chat. This way. Let's see. This right here. If you're on the phone, it should be down here. If you're on the computer, it should be probably this way. Yeah. Let us know if you want to say your name or where you're from. Carla is here. Hey, Carla. I know Carla. Yes, she is on. We've been talking on LinkedIn, and she's doing Scrimba actually.
Oh, an aspiring
Running the code from Scrimba. Yeah.
Hobbyist or aspiring professional?
Yes, she lives in Turkey, but is originally from Portugal and wants to get a job in tech and move back to Portugal. Hey, Carla, good to see you. Hey, Elena, good to see you too. Elena is also a Scrimba student, and she is from Russia, St. Petersburg, Russia. That's where she lives. And she is also trying to get a job in tech. So a lot of Scrimba people, I think, will be joining, which is going to be awesome. Oh, 5 people. We're up to 5 people now. Yay. We just had a almost 100% increase in just a couple of minutes.
Oh, man.
Oh, and then we have Bibarta. Hey, Bibarta. Bibarta, Alex, is a 15-year-old impressive young man from Bangladesh who started coding when he was 10 years old. And he is building
math.
Coding for 5 years. Coding for more than a third of his life. And building really awesome things. And has also been learning a little bit from Scrimba and also other resources. And my dad is here, actually. Faz Hoda. Fazul Hoda is here.
The Hodas are
Hello,
represented.
Abu. So good to see you, Abu.
Did we just go from 5 to 6 or to 7?
We just got up to 6 now.
We got up to 6.
Yes.
So from 20% Hodas to something else. I can't do the math. Someone else with the best can do it.
The number of people with the last name of Hoda is significant in this live stream.
Yeah, the number with Hoda has gone up by 100%.
Yeah. So to everyone else, my dad is from those people who don't know him. He is working as a petroleum engineer in Abu Dhabi at a company called ADNOC, which is like the big state-owned oil company in the United Arab Emirates. And they've been there for a couple of years, and he lives there with my mom, who I call Ami, and my youngest brother, who is much, much younger than me, and he's 13 years old. I'm turning 33 in 7 days, so you can do the math and figure out exactly how old I am. But yeah, they live there, and I just visited them a couple of weeks ago, and it was really awesome. The weather was amazing, and I was just enjoying myself there. So that's my dad. He's born in 1962, and he has had an incredible life. And it's because of him that we decided to move to Norway in 1996, actually, because he decided it was a time for a change after working at the oil company in India for 9 years or something. And that I am eternally grateful for, because I really like living in Norway. It's pretty awesome. And I wouldn't meet Alex if we didn't move here. Yeah, that's a little bit about my
universe. So maybe I was moving to India.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe you were gonna do like a Steve Jobs find yourself in India, like an ashram type of situation. Maybe we would meet there. Yeah, totally possible.
Eat, pray, love situation.
Exactly. Crazier things have happened before. Okay, we're down to 5 again. So I think more people will probably join us as we go. But I think 5 is good enough. I'm going to just check on my side. Some people I know that also said that they would be here. I'm going to just ping them. And then we're going to start with the things.
Very good.
Let's see. There you go. Okay, so for those of you that are already here, if you want to invite your friends or family members or whatever, you can use this link in the chat. It's like a short link, and this link will bring them to this live stream. So feel free to use that, and you can put it up on Twitter or X publicly as well if you want.
If you feel like lying and inviting them to something that's more akin to a live stand-up comedy show or something like that, then you're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah, we can do a little bit of improv, I think, if that means increasing the audience.
Yeah, of course we can.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be some conversations about AI.
Oh, yeah.
I can be your subconscious AI linked into your neural link. And I can say whatever it is that you're thinking, which is mostly very funny, I think.
Alex and I, whenever we talk about like how are you doing and how's it going, yeah, and then inevitably all roads lead to AI for us. All roads lead to Rome for us. It's all that. It was like that at least for a very long time. Now it's a little bit less.
All roads lead to the Romebot.
Yeah. If it's okay, why don't you show some photos, videos of Norway on Instagram? Oh, that's a great idea. We can maybe show some pictures too, and as we go on with the live stream. That's a great suggestion, Elena. Norway is probably not even Norwegians think this, but I think in the world it's known as one of the most beautiful places in the world with amazing nature, especially on the west coast of Norway. So we can show you some things. Maybe we can show them some things that if they come to Norway, they definitely have to go there, like our favorite spots.
Yeah. And according to some Norwegians, we also have the most beautiful people in the world.
Oh yeah,
according to some Norwegians.
True, yeah. According to some, I think also according to some non-Norwegians, that's the case.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's correct about every
So
place
yeah,
in the world.
beautiful country all around for sure. So if you're thinking of moving, Norway is definitely a place to consider. Okay, let's begin now because I think we have a good amount. I think we should get started because we only have 1 hour. So the way that we're going to do this thing, there is really not going to be any agenda. We're not going to be preparing anything specifically for these things. However, this is the first time we're doing this, and we do want to get to know each other a little bit. So we thought that we could start off with a couple of questions that we can ask you all. And the way that we're going to do this, if you're familiar with Kahoot, it's pretty close to Kahoot. It's something called Mentimeter. It's a Swedish company. And what they've done is that they've made a much more interactive Google Slides, basically. So Google Slides we all know about, but what if you could have like interactive polls in Google Slides, or you could have something like people can submit their own answers to a question, and you get the idea. So imagine you're in a lecture hall and the professor has prepared something where all the time you're interacting with the content. And so that just makes the whole experience better for all of us, I think. So this is something that I've tried out once and it worked pretty well. So hopefully it's going to work now as well. Just remember that this is the first time we're doing this. So if things go wrong, just expect it to go wrong and just be patient with us. So with that out of the way, let me share my screen and we'll get started on that. You want to bring up your smartphones and go into Google Chrome or any other browser that you like to use. And we're going to ask you to put in a number here. Let's see. And you want to go into the website menti.com. That's MENTI.com. There we go. So now you should be seeing this on the screen. The first question is, are you excited? And so you can, as it says up here, menti.com, use code this one. So just go into menti.com, put in this code, and you're going to start popping up here so we can see that you're here. And then you can vote yes or no for the questions that we have.
And if you happen to be an electron, this is a trick question. Oh, Lord have mercy. I hope there are other nerds out there that might be able to relate. I think probably
that was a good one. That was a good one, I gotta say. Okay, do we have? Okay, we got one yes. We can't see who it is, which is good because all of this is anonymous. Obviously, we don't see who is voting what. It's not getting recorded anywhere. So let's see. We're 5 people here. Hopefully, we're going to get a couple of more before we move on to the next question. So again, if you missed it, you want to bring up your smartphone, and maybe you're using your phone to do this. Watch us, then it's going to be a little bit difficult. Then don't worry about it. If you're on your phone already watching us, then don't worry about this. But if you have an iPad or a computer next to you, you can do it there. It doesn't have to be on your phone. But if you are watching us on your computer, then you can use your phone for this. Okay, Abu, you said you didn't get the code. The code is up here. The code is 57027009. Bibarta said that first vote is done. Awesome. Okay, I think it's taking some time, so we don't want to waste too much time. So we're just gonna go ahead to the next question, and you can keep answering the. Oh, there we go. We got one more. So as we keep going, you can also just answer in the chat. If you prefer that, you can do that too. But then obviously it's not going to be anonymous. Okay, next question. Do you struggle with imposter syndrome? For those of you that don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's something where you feel like an imposter, basically. So if you got a job, your first job in tech, for example, and you feeling like, I'm so not worthy of this. Why did I get this job? Other people are so much better than me. And you feel that all the time or very often. So if you've ever had that feeling before, and that's not a good feeling, I have a lot. I have it too all the time, like still. Then you want to say yes. If you don't struggle with this, then you want to say no. What about you, Alex? Do you struggle with imposter syndrome?
Oh, certainly, in many areas of my life, not just in work-related issues.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'd like to throw that question back at you because we have to go do a little back and forth, quid pro quo, like Hannibal Lecter. And are there any particular areas outside of work that you struggle with imposter syndrome, and which areas would that be?
Yeah, feel free, everyone, to answer that question that Alex asked. Any areas outside of work where you feel that? For me personally, I feel that in all areas. Am I doing enough with personal relationships that I have? Am I spending enough time with my parents, siblings, friends? Am I working too much? Am I working too little? Am I really whatever I am, wherever I am in my life right now, the things that I have I gotten it because of the right reasons, or is it because people are being nice and things like that? There's so many reasons why things happen, and I think we all have these stories in our brains of what we should get and what we shouldn't get. I think a lot of people think that, oh no, I am worthy of getting that and I should have this or that. But I think the opposite is also very true. Sometimes when things are going well, you might think, oh my God, things are happening so fast. Why are so many good things happening so fast? And I think we forget that, okay, if you've been putting in the work for the last 5-10 years, then isn't that what's supposed to happen? Usually with these things, and Alex, you'll know what I'm talking about because we've run a business together. Usually, the way that it works is that nothing happens for a very long time, absolutely nothing, but you're working a lot and trying to do things. And then suddenly, it's almost like a switch. So people think that, oh, I'm going to grow a business, it's going to grow like this. And that's almost never the case. Usually, nothing is happening ever. But once you get something to work, then usually everyone goes, oh my God, yes, this is something that I want. So it's almost binary. It's not even like this. Would you agree with that, Alex? It's
Yeah, the time before or between starting out
yeah,
and having those breakthroughs, it's quite a difficult process to go
yeah.
through. There's many iterations of questioning yourself on many levels. It's not just technical proficiency, it's about down to self-worth. At some points you feel like you're absolutely useless.
Yeah.
If you get a lot of stuff happening in a short amount of time and you get high on the feeling of success, then
Yeah.
it takes you 3 months to get the next hit of dopamine as a consequence of hard work.
Yeah,
But that's even worse because you get that high contrast. But let me ask you a quick question before we move on.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a way of reframing imposter syndrome to something that has positive utility?
Yeah,
So
that's a great question. That's a
instead
great
of
question.
Instead I have of having imposter syndrome, I
Yeah.
have X.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Feel free to answer that in the chat too. I have some thoughts on this. I would say for sure 100% yes. And I think imposter syndrome is a very healthy thing to have in a like a moderate at a moderate level, because if you're not feeling like an imposter, you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, because I think you're too much in your comfort zone. Because if you're just doing the things that you've been doing very well for the last 10 years, I don't think there's that much growth in it. But if I like right now, I'm doing like a hobby thing as wanting to become a stand up comedian. And it's a scary thing, but I've been writing down some material for a couple of years now and I have some stuff. But in some time, I'm going to start going up and like doing open mic nights here in Oslo. And it's going to be pretty scary because I haven't done it before. And I'm going to feel like an imposter because I'm going to compare myself to other people that I follow, stand up comedians that you all probably know through whoever you follow, Joe Rogan and people like that in that circle. And I'm going to inevitably compare myself to those people. So I'm going to video myself, obviously. And when I'm going to see it back, I'm going to be like, oh my God, what am I even doing here? But I'm exactly supposed to be feeling like that in the beginning. The first time you do something, it's supposed to be really bad. Otherwise, well, if it's really amazing the first time, then you must have done it before in some other ways. I think imposter syndrome is healthy, and I think if you do have that, it just means that you have humility and you're just a human being. Because if you thought always that, oh yeah, I'm so amazing at what I do and I can do anything, I don't think that would be very healthy, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good answer.
Should we go to the next one? Oh, we got 5 people now. So we have 4 people saying yes and 1 no.
Very nice. I
Okay.
would be interested in knowing if the not struggling with imposter syndrome is not having imposter syndrome or not struggling with it. It's very interesting because some people might have a very healthy attitude towards it and just go, I welcome the imposter syndrome whenever it
True.
comes, which would be a
True.
very good attitude to have.
Absolutely.
Well,
So
you
we
can.
have some chat messages in the meantime. Maybe everyone does sometimes. Yeah, absolutely, Alan. I think that's pretty reasonable. It's a complicated question Abu asks. Yeah, it's something that I think we don't think about all the time, but we feel it, and it can be hard to verbalize and really make concrete. Gang, what's good? How is everyone? Hey, Sushant, Alex is also someone I know from X. He's a very talented young man from India doing really cool things. So good to see you, Sushant. Arya is here too. Hey, Arya, good to see you. She's also a young woman from India, and she is doing a lot of really cool things. She also has a pretty big following on social media, on X particularly. So if you
Awesome.
want some good content there, you should follow her over there.
What sort of content?
What?
What sort of content?
I think it's a lot of like coding related stuff. And I think she runs a community on Discord, which she started not long ago. Feel free to share that with us, Arya, if there's anything like anyone actually, if anyone wants to share their LinkedIn or XR link, just feel free to do that in the comments so we can get to know each other better. It's just a small group of us here. But I think what Arya does also are X spaces, which is those, yeah, I think she does that pretty often. So I don't know if I've been able to join one of those yet, but I'd love to do that. They're pretty short, and I think she does it pretty often. Okay, so are you currently in tutorial hell? 3 people say no. Tutorial hell, for those of you that don't know what it is, imagine you start learning how to code and you go onto YouTube and you say how to code in Python or something like that. You find a tutorial and you go through it and you learn how to build, I don't know, a little thingy that is like a to-do list application or something like that. It's the first time you're coding and you've built it. You're not supposed to understand everything, obviously. But if you just keep doing that after like weeks and weeks, months and months, years and years, what will happen is that you have a bunch of projects that are built. But if someone asked you, hey, can you build this thing that you built a year ago from scratch? And you would go, yeah, I can try. And then you start coding and you're like, what did my teacher do again? I don't remember. I have to look it up. And you look at the video and you start doing that. You have to look up everything. And I think it's supposed to be that a little bit in the beginning because coding is difficult and you need to get the exposure to it. And tutorials are a great way to do that. But where it becomes a little bit of a trap and what we call tutorial hell is that if you're only doing that, I think people fool themselves into believing that they're learning by just watching tutorials and copying. I've certainly been doing that for a long time, and I struggled with this. What happens is that you think that you're actually learning, but what's happening is that the brain is just getting this stimulus which is very like pleasant, and it doesn't make your brain struggle, so it enjoys it the same way that you binge watch a Netflix show or something like that. But what we do at Scrimba, for example, because we know about this phenomenon and we try to work against it, is that you can never watch a tutorial just by sitting back and copying, because all you're doing is just taking in the audio and the visual and then just using your fingers to copy it. That's all what's happening. So we make you go, no, pause here and solve this challenge by yourself. So we'll make you build the thing as much as possible. And what happens there is that your brain is engaged, and it has to always stop and think, oh, damn, I have to ask myself some questions to be able to solve this problem. How did he do it before? And then you got to scroll back and you got to pause. All of that makes you a much better learner and eventually a much better coder. And you'd be surprised at even companies who hire people. I've heard some stories that will just make your head spin. There are companies that have senior developers that are still in tutorial hell, and they can't really build anything of note by themselves. This is a reality. And all they do is that they get, and I think Alex also has a funny story that maybe we can share sometime.
No,
I don't. Okay, you can't just share that. Okay, that's fine. So basically, what I mean is that this is a big problem. And so if you are facing that, there's no shame in that, and there is a very specific way on how you can get out of it if that is you. And hopefully we can talk a little bit about that today, and obviously later on too. Okay, that's all on tutorial hell. All of you, none of you feel like you're there. That's good to hear. Are you currently looking for an internship or job? Yes or no? What do you think, Alex? Is it going to be most yeses or nos on this one?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
In
I
fact,
think so too.
we're always searching. Even when at work, I sometimes search for work.
Always be searching, always be job hunting. You know, have you seen Glenn Ross?
No. What is
No?
that?
It's that movie, that sales movie from the 90s, I think, which has a very popular scene where Alec Baldwin is coming in and saying, if you don't sell, I think they're supposed to be selling houses or something like that, something in real estate. If you don't make a sale, you're gone. The person who gets the first prize gets a Cadillac, this fancy car, and the second prize is a bunch of knives, and the third prize is you're fired. It's a really popular scene, really good. And he says, always be closing. So,
right. Well,
yeah, always be looking for your next job. Always be looking for your next job.
Always be closing.
Yeah.
Always be.
Sushant has seen that movie. What did you say?
I think Rafid knows more about movies than Firebase.
Yeah.
Those unemployed gang. Well, you could rephrase the question and say, are you looking for anyone that can teach you something new or something valuable to do with your life? I feel like we're all unemployed in that endeavor. We should be. I have definitely.
I think on this one, sorry, yeah?
No, go ahead.
I think on this one, we have 6 people that have voted, and we have 7 people watching. And I think the only person who said no is my dad, probably. I'm pretty sure, because he's not looking for a job right now. So I think basically everyone else is looking for a job. So now we know a little bit that we can frame our rest of the live stream a little bit on that, maybe helpful tips on how to get a job. If you have specific questions, guys and gals, and those in between, comment below questions so we have something go off of when we're done with these questions. Okay. Are you afraid that AI will make you not have a good job in the future?
Are you afraid of that, Rafid?
What's your timeline? Are you talking like this century, or are you talking the next decade?
I'm definitely thinking when you have the ability to do work and you can benefit from it, and it will be a bad thing if AI was better at it than you. So you can choose the time frame then. I'm guessing next 30, 40 years then?
So I'm 33, or will be 33 soon in 7 days, 23rd of January. I don't think we need to worry about that in this decade and the next decades to come. Why? Because from history, we know that whenever some new technology comes along, like the World Wide Web, for example, or smartphones or anything like that, we have to understand that the world is a lot more and bigger than in the country that we live in. For example, me and Alex, we live in Norway. I live in Oslo, Norway, which is the capital. Alex lives in Stavanger, which is an amazing city that is smaller than Oslo, and it's on the west coast of Oslo, one of the most beautiful cities. And our world is Norway basically, and it's pretty amazing here. Everyone has internet, the electricity is stable all the time, infrastructure is great. But Norwegians are what, 5.5 million at most, 6 million maybe. If you take all Norwegians in the world that have migrated, maybe 7, maybe 10 million, including everyone in the US. Take a country like India and you go to an entirely different scale, a billion and a half people, right? And I calculated a little while ago that for every Norwegian in the world, there are 250 Indians. And so if we're talking about, will my job be at risk here in Norway as a person working here? No, I don't think so. But in India, when it's already that competitive, honestly, I got to say, I don't know that much about it. I'm trying to learn about it. But I've been in meetings with clients at previous jobs where it was a Norwegian client and it was just one person that I was talking to. Make that an Indonesian client, and I'm talking to the main person, and there are 15 people underneath that person that are just there in the meeting and they don't have any video on. Why are those people there? I don't know. I think they all have some tasks to do, but honestly, there's not much work being done because they have just all of their work is just like secondary work, like sending emails to each other and other people. And so I think those jobs are at risk for being replaced en masse. And that's going to be interesting. Now, my thinking is that if you are in this live stream and on X or LinkedIn at all, you are already not in that group. You're probably a much more impressive person. And so you should be, if I was not 33, but 23 right now, what would I be doing? I think what I would be doing is understanding what AI is good at and what AI is not good at. In order to understand that, you really need to understand what AI even means. We've been researching AI for decades now, but the breakthrough was the transformers that were figured out in 2017. After that, everything changed. Not immediately, but really in the last year is when ChatGPT changed everything. And that's because of large language models. We're not going to go into the technical details of it because it's not important. Basically, if you boil it down, here's how it works. You take anything and you turn it into just text, right? Anything in our digital world can be encoded down to text, to computer language, basically, at the very end, zeros and ones, really. But a couple of levels higher than that, you can perfectly understand what's in a video by just decoding it down into the code for it, basically. So the people that figured this out, and this is the breakthrough that always happens in every industry since humans have existed, is that people are working on different things here and here. This person is working on a chess engine and AI, whatever. This person is working on an AlphaGo thing and everything. And then some people come along and then just take everything and they say, you know what? Everything else here can be generalized into this one thing. That's what mathematicians do for a living. That's why math is so difficult to do and actually to contribute to originally over your lifetime. But there are incredibly smart people that have been working on these things since they were kids, basically. And what they figured out was that, you know what, at the end of the day, it's all math. And so if we can use some very simple math, and I'm not going to go into the details of this because it's going to be difficult for all of us to understand. And I honestly don't know very much about it. But what's the most important thing to know is that anything that is looking like magic for us right now, ChatGPT, Midjourney, anything like that, it's all just math. That's what it is. At this point, I think everyone is using this example of it's just predicting the next word, the next letter, and that's true. And this goes to show you that math has this incredible power so that it can very almost perfectly describe our reality. If you give it enough data that is accurate and good, then it can perfectly predict everything. is going to happen in the future. Perfectly meaning as much as perfect as it can be given the things that it has taken in as input. And that's exactly what's happening with ChatGPT and everything else. ChatGPT is taking all the data in the world that has ever been produced by humans and put online. There are a bunch of humans that are vetting that data and taking it through a process. And that's why there is a cutoff of April 2023. But it's just simple math. Now, what would I be doing at 23 right now? I would be learning that math. I would be learning electrical engineering. I would be learning math, psychology, so that I can understand this technology from first principles, from the very basis. Why? Because it's all math. Math doesn't know anything. It's just math. It's just numbers. So when things do go wrong at your company, and they will all the time because AI will be wrong a lot of the time, what are people going to do? They're going to come to you because you know what you're talking about. What's that going to do to you? Your salary is going to go like this. You're going to have all the opportunities that you want in this world. So you want to put yourself in that category, and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm not smart enough to be in that category. Absolutely false. That's not true. If you think that you're not good at math or anything like that, that most of the world thinks, according to research, you need to give yourself a little bit of time to really do difficult math problems before you can make that decision. And believe me, the math that I'm talking about is incredibly easy to understand and do. It's just basic math. There's no complicated stuff. It's math basically that a high school student can learn and master. If you're more interested in this, let me know and I'll send you some resources to learn. But that is what I would be doing. Okay. I wouldn't be thinking, oh, what's the best framework to work, React or Vue? No, those things are so easy to pick up anyway. And those things are going to be replaced by other things when the time comes in a couple of years. That's just fluff on top. The basic foundational things is what you want to learn. Math, psychology, maybe even a little bit of physics, electrical engineering, game theory in math is really going to help you with this. These things, economics, so that you can understand everything, not just about computers, but the world in general, and about how humans work and how we make decisions, so that you, whether AI or not, you are able to get the best job with a great salary, but you're also able to run a business if you want to do that. Maybe you want to do an indie hacker project that's just making a little bit of side income. All of those things is possible for you if you work on the foundational stuff. Yeah, so that's my answer to that.
Interesting. Sarfullah says, as a developer, should we be afraid of going out of industry concerning the current pace of AI technologies? I am getting discouraged to pursue being a developer. Right. It's that's an interesting question actually, because I feel like it depends on how you approach becoming a developer. Because if you learn how to code and you're doing it for a very specific purpose, like doing front-end development for Netflix, you need to learn a very specific language, and you get training as being a front-end developer, and you get good at solving specific types of problems. It's almost like being a janitor. And I think if you get really good at solving problems, it doesn't really matter if you pursue a career in the type of development that we do in most jobs today, where all the medium level salaries are. You'll be able to branch out and solve problems in different ways. I feel like if you go to university or a properly made course for people who like to learn how to do high level problem solving, it doesn't really matter that much. And yeah, any important job requires you to solve deep problems and to be able to think for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's a very good question, because development has been this, what to say, popular choice of a career for quite a while now. And I feel like people have a very stereotypical view of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And the question when you asked, are you in tutorial hell right now? I think YouTube and quite frankly, a lot of tutorial course shops have contributed a lot to making development
Absolutely
one thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite dangerous, because you are creating a lot of people who have aspirations of becoming this thing that they don't really understand very much.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should be afraid of what potential there is outside of just the standard kind of Netflix development job, or there's so many things that you could be doing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have a question for you, Alex. What would you do? Zari Fulla, can you tell us how old you are? I want to ask you, Alex, I'm assuming somewhere in the 20s or something. What would you be doing if you were 10 years younger than you are now and you're just like entering into your career? What would you think about the whole developer thing? Because you've done development too, even though right now you're a designer, but you know quite a bit. Yeah, so he's 22. So let's say that you're 22 right now.
Honestly, it's a difficult question because I've grown up in Stavanger in Norway, and I had a lot of time to decide what I wanted to do, and I didn't really have a gun against my head, quote unquote, so to speak. And I think that's right for a lot of people, is that you don't really have that much of a rush to decide what you're going to do. And you can make a lot of mistakes. You can try a bunch of things and still come out on the other end relatively happy. I think if you are the type of a person who likes to really get your hands dirty and dig deep and figure things out, and you're interested in pursuing intellectual careers, and you want to be a developer because you want to solve problems, or if you want to be a scientist because you like solving problems, then I would just say try to solve as many problems as you possibly can.
Mm,
Those are modern
that's a
problems.
good advice. That's very good advice. Can you give us an example of a problem that could be solved and how you would solve it?
Yeah, you could just, if you wanted to, literally pick up a math book or a computer science book, and instead of reading through the instructions on the pages, jump straight
Yes.
and just start at them. That would be an
Uh-huh.
interesting way of doing it because it doesn't require that much creativity, except for
Yep.
the creativity of actually figuring out how to solve the problem. But I would say projects is a good way of doing it, but it does require you to start somewhere. And that could be anything. You could start in the more aesthetic realm where you go, I like making things that are beautiful. So let's solve the problem of making those beautiful things either
Yeah.
with mechanical or like more technical programming or just pure software. And that requires a lot of learning
Yeah.
and problem solving. Or you could go more higher level and say that I want to solve something related to the local problem of getting fast. What's that in English again?
Oh, GP,
Whatever.
I think.
Yeah,
General
whatever.
practitioner. Or something?
Yeah, if people can't get general practitioners, how can we create a product
Yeah.
that would help solve that? And then
Right.
you learn how to program or whatever else you need to
Yeah.
learn in order to solve that problem. There's a million ways to approach it, but I think if you're the type of person who enjoy that, then just solve a bunch of problems and don't really worry about what's the newest fad. Like
Yes.
I agree with you that you should be, if you
100%.
learn the math
Yeah.
of AI or math of anything that is current. So you're saying I have to change my mindset to be a problem solver rather than pursue only being a developer. Yeah. As
Totally
simple
agree.
as that. But it depends also on what you want to be, right? If you want to be a person who sit and write code, there's probably going to be that sort of job for you. And if it's hard to get it, then you're just going to have to be the best one at doing it. And then
Yeah.
but then you have to be the best problem solver.
Yeah. I'll share something here that I hope will be helpful to all of you. I went to a university called University of Waterloo in Canada for 2 years. I didn't finish my degree, but it's pretty well known for math and computer science. So a lot of like very capable people go there for school. And what I learned there is that there were some people that I knew there. I was part of something called a pure math club. So it's like the nerdiest people in the nerdiest school in the country. Yeah. So there were people there that didn't know how to code, but they were really good problem solvers and their foundational knowledge in math was very strong. They picked up any language like in a month and then suddenly they're working at Facebook and earning a bunch of money. That was not unusual to see all the time. Now, you can't go the other way around. If you know how to code, you can't suddenly do like math, research level math. But the other way is very possible. I would say try to focus on the skills that are never going to go out of style because if you learn things like math, then you'll see that anything that is like more applied than math, like physics or computer science or anything, just all boils down to math at the end. It's the purest subject ever. There's even like a funny XKCD comic. I don't know if you've seen that, Alex, with like a timeline, with like a line with the purest subject with math, and on the other side there are like other, and then there's physics, chemistry, and everything like that. And you have the mathematician all the way at the pure end. Yeah, let's go to the next question because I think we're. Do you know how to code? Just to be able to see everyone who's here, how many of you are coders? And then you might be thinking, oh, so what does it mean to know how to code? You know, if you can build a simple little thing in code, like a little app in code, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, then you know how to code. If you've just tried it a little bit and done console log, hello world, then maybe not. So that's what we mean here. Okay, we have 4 yeses. You got 9 people watching, so 5. Nice. We're gonna try to get some designers too. Huh?
When did you start feeling like you knew how to code, Rafid?
Not until 2016, 17. It wasn't until then that I had built a full application that processed payments and did messaging and everything, where I felt like, okay, now I'm starting to get it. So I would say when I built something that people actually used in the real world and there was some money made, and that is when before then it was just very simple things like simple games and apps that was just for myself. If Rafid, you probably know how to code. True. That's very accurate, I would say. Okay.
That's the criteria you have on your list of potential friendships, right?
Yeah. Okay. Are you learning to code on Scrimba? Just curious. How many of you are Scrimba people?
You suspect most people are?
I suspect most people are, yeah. And then we're going to guess at least one no because of my dad.
Oh, there we go. Hello. You should try out Scrimba.
Yes. As we're waiting for everyone, I put down a link in the chat. Maybe I can star that comment or something. Can you? Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, we can do this. We can highlight comments.
Oh, lovely.
So Art of Problem Solving is the best place that I have found to become a better problem solver. They have books that do exactly what Alex said. Before looking at the recipe on how to solve a problem, you are given the problem, you figure it out, and then they give you the recipe and the history and everything. I've been using these books. I found these books in when I was a teenager, a long time ago. And I have used it with my own math students over years and years, and it's the absolute best research that I've found on the internet. They have physical books you can order, but you can also do online books, or digital books rather, which is just literally you got to log in and you have the website. It's very simple, and you just go through the whole thing there. I would recommend the electronic books because they're cheaper as well, and you can access it on any device. And you just get out your notebook and you start doing math problems. It's amazing. And they take you from just simple stuff, arithmetic, plus, minus, and all that, dividing. And you'll finally be able to understand things like why is a negative times a negative equals a positive, things that you never understand in school because even the teachers don't know. You'll be able to understand by doing these type of problems. They're very difficult though, these books, but if you just stick with it, then your understanding of math is going to go to a completely different level. Okay, there's some comments. Yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You were going to do the same thing I was going to do.
But I have an account there and have spent some hours. Oh, Abu, my dad is saying that he has spent some time on Scrimba. Okay. Yeah. Then maybe it's not him who said no. Is this real thing that developer always self-doubt their skills when they face problems to solve? I think we can safely say that is a common phenomenon.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think it's always true. I think that it depends on what you mean by self-doubt. But I can we probably elaborate on what we consider self-doubt.
I don't think you necessarily start doubting yourself every time you face a problem, because you've been at the point where you felt frustration about not understanding something multiple times, and that has
True.
nothing to do with your self
True.
belief necessarily. You can believe that you will be able to solve it, and so you
Yeah.
can have a very positive attitude towards the frustration that you're feeling, because you've been able to consistently overcome that feeling multiple times. But if you mean that they have problems solving a problem every time they face something that is an actual problem, yeah, I think that's the nature of problems. You know,
Yeah.
that's why you need people to solve them, is because they're
Yeah.
problems.
That's an awesome point. I love that you brought that up because was starting to get some examples of it. I was just thinking that I hope I'm saying your name right. Zarifullah. Zarifullah, imagine you're 22 right now, right? You're probably in university doing difficult exams in math and computer science. Imagine you're taking your 5th grade math exam tomorrow. Are you going to be nervous? Probably not. Are you going to be nervous if you're going to take your 1st grade math exam from like years ago? Probably not. Do you think you're going to get 100 on that test? Probably. Probably. You got to put things into perspective. Right now, you are facing really difficult problems because things get really hard as you get older. And if, as Alex was saying, if you're used to the feeling of, I think we all know, if those of us who've done like difficult, especially science subjects in university, you get to the exam and you look through the whole exam and you go, oh my God, I have no idea how to solve a single problem on this test. Nothing. Do you know that feeling, Alex?
Yes, Rafa, I do
Yeah.
know that feeling.
And I think we all know that feeling. But somehow, magically, after 3 hours have passed, you've actually able to solve correctly a good subset of those problems. How? Why? It's because you know that, right? You at a certain point you get used to that feeling. And so I think what becomes a thing as you do more and more development is that you just learn that is that, oh my God, I haven't done this before. And you go, oh great, that's amazing. I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to learn something new, several new things. So at a certain point you start liking that feeling. Actually, I think Alex, you can really attest to that too. If I'm not having that feeling every day, something is wrong. Actually, if I'm not having that feeling of this is a real challenge that I need to figure out, then I need to create that for myself almost. So it becomes almost like a thing that you crave at a certain point. But you can't just get to that directly. There is a long period of just a little bit of misery before your brain understands that, okay, this is a good thing for me. It's like this thing of, if you are afraid of talking to strangers, going up to someone and telling them something or asking them something can be just insane. Just it feels like you're going to die if you do that. But do it 1,000 times because you're doing sales or something like that, it just becomes easy.
Yeah.
That feeling never goes away. It's still always going to be there, but it's so small that you know that how to handle it. And I think that applies here as well. Let's
Yeah.
go to the next one. This is the last one. Which continent do you live in?
6 of which are continents, one of which is a technical slur.
I hope no one here is from New Zealand.
Oh yeah, we've left some people out, I feel. And also we've decided that down is also the southward direction on the map, which does not apply if you're a physicist. We have Asia. You're in full control here. You know who is from where, right, Rafid? You listed it all in all
I
the
believe so, yeah. So we should have Asia should be definitely tallest, and then I think Europe comes after that.
Do we have
And then
representations from everywhere?
I don't think we're going to have anything on Africa and South America or the land down under, but I think we should have North America.
Oh, Asia, haha. Okay. So we got to work on the North America, South America, and the land down under then. Oh no,
Yeah.
sorry, Africa, South America, and the land down under. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do some more outreach in those regions. As we're waiting for all the answers to come in, I'm assuming that because it's like more multiple choice. It's taking a longer time, or people are starting to leave or something like that. We have 8 people watching still.
Mhm.
Where would you go if fun question, and write it in the chat actually. If you, okay, hypothetically, if someone came to you with a lot of money and said, hey, I want to pay for a vacation for you, and you can go anywhere in the world for an entire 2 weeks. You don't need to do anything. No exams, no work, no nothing. Where would you go? Do you have a country in mind? Do you have a city in mind? Write it down in the comments.
Prison.
And the Norwegian prison?
They supply everything from you there. You
Yeah.
can just read books and eat food, more or less.
Where would you go, Alex? Do you have a place in mind, like a specific place?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna answer Thailand, south of Thailand.
Yeah.
That's where I would go. They have a lot of very nice co-working spaces and a lot of entrepreneurial people down there, many opportunities in design and development, and just the weather and the culture and the food and the everything is absolutely amazing down there. And just because we're quite privileged with the currency situation up in Norway, there's a pretty good exchange, so you get a lot from not so much.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think that would be very high on my list.
That's funny because I would pick the same country.
Would you?
And
Yeah.
And the reason is because I went to a New Year's party that was hosted by a friend of mine, and I met a couple there that live in Thailand, actually, a Norwegian man and a Vietnamese woman that met in Thailand years ago, and they live there. And I don't remember the city in which they live, but I started asking them questions about how much it costs to go there and live there and everything. And the data that they gave me was so mind blowing because I figured out basically that if I go there and work there for a month, I would actually be saving money versus just living in Norway. Because the flights are very cheap, but staying there in a really good apartment, which is like pretty good standard, is just 5,000 kroners, which is $500 euros, and for a whole month. And that's even like a more expensive one. If you want a cheaper one, you can go way lower. The food apparently is so cheap that you can eat outside every single day and you save money versus if you had bought your own stuff and made your own food, according to them, at least in the city that they're in. And so it was insane. So if you want to go, Alex, maybe we should make a trip out of it, you and me there for 2 weeks or something, if your job allows you. They told me exactly when to go to, like in November, I think is the best time.
Yeah, not when it's too hot, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Or too humid. No, yeah, definitely. We should talk about that afterwards. It's, by the way, are everyone from the country of France? Because you feel like you tricked
Wait,
them.
what?
No, nothing. It's just that
What was the joke? Explain the joke.
they painted the country of France with the answers in the poll.
Oh.
Everyone's undercover Frenchman.
See, for those of you who don't know Alex, that would be classified as an Alex joke.
They do call them dad jokes, but I've been marketing to rebrand them as daddy jokes because there's more leeway.
Oh, we already have our third person for that Thailand trip, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Let's go.
So we got a little party going. Yep. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. We have 2 minutes left on the hour. We're trying to keep at it on like the right time. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. I hope you had fun. This was the first time we're running it, so I hope that everything went well, and this will actually be put on YouTube too. We'll see how that goes. And next time, we'll also try to run this thing on X as well. If you have anything that you want to share with the two of us, please feel free to add us on social media. We'll put our handles down here.
Oh,
Alex, yours is Alexander Molde, just like your whole name, right? On everything.
Is it?
Could you check?
You know more about me than I do.
I think it is. Okay, yeah. So add us on. I am usually most active on X, formerly known as Twitter, of course, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, more and more now, and TikTok as well. And Alex has accounts on which ones?
Do I go for X? And that's right. It is at Alexander Molde. And then I guess I have LinkedIn in case anyone want to connect. That's probably a good thing. We should all just connect, make a forest
Absolutely.
of connections, and so we
Feel
look
free
for
to put in your LinkedIn URL in the comments so other people can connect with you if you're comfortable having that information documented here. Please feel free to let us know about things that you want us to talk about for next time and beyond. Send me a message, send Alex a message. You know how to contact us. And this was the first time. We're going to be running one of these every month, and it's going to be every time on Sunday. And maybe we should just go for the second Sunday of every month now that we've done it first time.
Yeah.
Or if we have something that kind of makes that difficult to do, we'll just move it. But there will be at least one every month. And I think so. We're trying to keep the threshold low for us to actually be able to pull this off, because I don't know how many podcast episodes we've recorded that are unpublished, Alex. I think it's getting into the double digits at this point. But we've been thinking for years at this point to do something, and this is the first time we're actually doing it publicly.
Nothing has come of that. But,
Everything is your fault.
I'm happy that you're expressing everything in the comments. Saifullah is asking for the LinkedIn. Could you just write my name in there because I have to join the chat?
Yeah, no problem. Saifullah, just search for Alexander's full name on LinkedIn, and I think there's only one of you. So just look for his face and then add him there. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great rest of your Sunday, whether it's morning for you, afternoon, or evening, or night. Thank you so much for joining us. I had a great time, Alex. What about you?
Oh, very good. Looking forward to every second Sunday of the month.
Absolutely. So the recording of this will also be published pretty soon. So feel free to share it with anyone if you want to, or rewatch it if you want to. And of course, people always ask, so I'm just going to say it so Alex knows too. If you want to take a screenshot of this and put it up on X and LinkedIn, for me, that's completely fine. Are you okay with that too, Alex?
My face all over X?
Yeah, and LinkedIn.
Okay. Whatever.
Okay. So we're good with that. So if you want to do that, it's okay. You don't need to ask us, so you can share it in any way. So yeah, that's all we had for today. Thank you so much. And that's all for us. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.